Now, the world's gone mad. Yes, it truly is a world gone mad when you are so woke, you go out of your way to organise an LGBTQ plus march and you make sure you exclude any Israeli gays, you know, to keep your march pure, only to then find out you've been blocked by the pro-Palestinian crowd.
The word solidarity, but then you don't actually show it.
Well, still, it could be worse. You could really stick it to the man and organise a huge mass demonstration of like-minded people against the evil oligarch Donald Trump.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! This oligarch has got to go! No Trump! No racist USA!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Terrifying stuff. Or you could really show how progressive you are by heckling Sydney Sweeney, probably currently the most famous and beloved woman in the world, thanks to her American Eagle ad.
Sydney, any comments about the ad?
Sydney, please.
That is being racist.
Thank
you. Yes, even Donald Trump is a fan these days.
If Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican, I think her ad is fantastic.
Which has only, of course, served to drive the left into further levels of indignation and outrage.
Sydney Sweeney ad is just another litmus test to see if people can actually recognize and acknowledge overt racism and how harmful it can be.
Overt racism. More credible is, in fact, this young lass, well, let's just say she's got unusual facial piercings, who objects to Sydney's jeans ad on grounds of historical grounds, in particular the history of denim made blue by indigo dye.
Indigo was one of the first cash crops in America, and it made white families rich. It helped to fund colonies. And every drop of that blue was pulled from black bodies, black intellect, and black labor.
It's a good look. That's actually an interesting and partially valid point that she does make, although it is worth pointing out that indigo was in fact cultivated in India and was known to ancient civilizations from Greece and Rome to Mesopotamia and Peru 6,000 years ago. So maybe she should be thanking the Incas for Sweeney's great blue jeans. And speaking of the Incas, here's a woke academic who claims that when it came to child sacrifices, the Incas were actually very progressive. It's just those racist whites who are to blame for giving Inca child sacrifices such a bad name.
They were kind about it, hear me out. Because unlike the Mexica, when you're like ripping out a still beating heart out of someone's chest, the Inca would intentionally use coca leaves and would use chicha and would drug up the sacrifice and then leave them on a mountain, a cold, chilly mountain, to be exposed to the elements. Which, if you're good, a volunteer sacrifice where you're heavily drugged before you die. And I think the fact that a lot of people are commenting, oh, but the sacrifice is again indicative of the fact that you have received a quite white education.
Drug him, leave him on the mountain to die, who cares? Well, what's the problem? So that's all right then. Speaking of pagan practices, it's good to see a favourite star of this show, Kamala's stepdaughter. She's been busy spruiking the joys and the benefits of not shaving under your armpits.
There's something very shocking still about body hair. Most commonly I see, I bet you smell bad, or damn, that's dirty. Little did and do they know I'm as clean as a whistle and heavily moisturized thanks to fur oil. I've been using this heavily in my daily routine for as long as I've had body hair.
Oh, sorry. I wonder what Kamala, stepmom, thinks about that. Perhaps she writes about it in her new book.
I mean, there's a lot of personal stuff in the book. I mean, poor Dougie.
You're blowing the lid off of Doug? What's going on?
For example, my birthday's in October. The election's in November. You see where I'm going?
To paraphrase Donald Trump, I have no idea what Kamala was talking about, and I don't think she did either. Maybe there's a chapter in her book about raising teenage girls and personal feminist hygiene. You never know. Still, it got me thinking. I wonder how young feminist women are faring these days in attracting like-minded, compatible male companions. not well, as it turns out.
I don't think there's anything harder than finding a liberal boyfriend. Where is he? Not even a liberal, like maybe like a Democrat, like a registered Democrat. I just want to find a dude that voted for Kamala Harris. I'm really struggling.
She's raised the bar very high there. A good-looking, virile young American male who voted for Kamala Harris. Good luck with that quest. In the meantime, other feminists are convinced that MAGA men are cheating on their conservative wives and hitting secretly on leftist feminists.
This is a message to all MAGA women. I want you to know that no matter how much you decide to hate on feminists, your husband will be in our DMs, and he will be asking us to step on him.
Of course they are. And let's not forget the trials and tribulations of all those feminist menfolk who, instead of chasing a bit of skirt, are far too busy trying to wear one.
Wobbly wobble, wobble, wobbin', ass so fat, all these...
On the other hand, this woman is concerned about what will happen if they replace Amazon's automated voice assistant Alexa with a male version.
Hey babe, they just announced that they're releasing the male version of Alexa. It's going to be called Alex, and you have to tell it what you want 10 times before it listens to you, and then you have to wait 6 months for it to do anything.
Huh? What? Mind you, who needs a male assistant called Alex if you've got a compliant male foot masseur and one-time famous Trump impersonator called Alec?
'Cause I'm your lady, and you are my man.
Meanwhile, if they are thinking of remaking Mr. Bean, I've found the ideal candidate. No one quite like Boris Johnson. Meanwhile, this young conservative American woman is quite correctly incensed by what she says is happening in Britain under Boris Johnson's successor, Keir Starmer, and his Labour government.
The UK government actually just spent taxpayer dollars to tell all of their citizens that reading The Lord of the Rings or George Orwell might lead to adoption of right-wing extremism. Your tax dollars just paid for this. This is part of the larger counter-terrorism program called PREVENT under the British government, which also included C.S. Lewis in their repertoire of radical right-wing extremist authors, and they list these books as red flags. So essentially, if you're reading 1984 or The Hobbit or Mere Christianity, you should be suspected, according to the UK government, of being a far-right extremist terrorist.
Ah yes, the far-right Narnia. But at least satire, however Orwellian, is still alive and kicking in Great Britain.
Hello, you've reached the UK Thought Police helpline, where we care about feelings, not facts. All of our agents are currently busy criminalising mean tweets and suppressing protest footage, but do please hold, as your thought crime is very important to us. To ensure your safety and compliance, this call will be monitored, recorded, misinterpreted, and possibly used against you at a later date. Press 1 if you've thought something offensive today. Press 2 if you've heard someone say something problematic. Press 3 if you're unsure that a thought you had today might be illegal next week. Press 4 to report your nan for misgendering your dog.
Yes, it truly is a mad and crazy world. Joining me is the one and only Michael Knowles from the Daily Wire, live and direct from Nashville, Tennessee. Great to see you, Michael. Now, I'm a bit confused here. You might have to help me out. They've redone Jesus Christ Superstar with a kind of somewhat demonic-looking actress, Cynthia Erivo, starring as a black female Jesus, where else, of course, but at the Hollywood Bowl. Here is a clip from her. Have a look. Now, Michael, you're going to have to explain to me how in Hollywood only, trans or gay actors are allowed to play trans or gay roles, but a black, kind of demonic-looking woman is obviously the perfect candidate for Jesus Christ, Michael.
No Semitic men were considered for that role. They need not apply. They're so edgy. But of course, there's nothing really edgy about this casting or anything coming out of Hollywood. The edgiest way to present Christianity today is in an orthodox and traditional and reverent way. So you're never going to see that out of Hollywood. But that is the kind of Christianity, actually, that is impelling a major return to religion, especially among young people. I did not see the whole performance, so I'm not going to weigh in on the tunes or her performance. But it's clear, even beyond her natural look, she's a black lady, obviously, the way that she comported herself, the long, scary fingernails, appearing hunched over, these are stylistic choices to subvert our expectations and send some kind of message that seems to be disconnected from the faith of Christianity, which we have to remember is incarnational. It involves bodies and real human beings in real time and space. That has never been popular among pagans, whether we're talking about Roman antiquity or modern Hollywood. As I call it, Gomorrah by the sea.
Exactly. Now, Michael, Donald Trump has threatened a federal takeover of Washington, D.C. There was a DOJ employee who was assaulted. 2 15-year-old suspects were arrested in connection to the beating. Have a listen to Donald Trump threatening to take over Washington, D.C.
And either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
So, Michael, explain to Australians what this actually means and why it's kind of shocked people. What is behind this?
Well, I can understand why Australians living in a different country might not understand what Trump is talking about. It's less forgivable that the American media seem not to understand it either. Trump could not federalize Washington, D.C. in the sense that Washington, D.C. already belongs to the federal government. It's not a city like New York or L.A. or Chicago. It's the federal district. In fact, this is true going all the way back to the Constitution, which says that Congress, not the local residents, not the local mayor, Congress controls Washington, D.C. in all cases whatsoever. That's directly from the Constitution. So that's how D.C. was run for a very, very long time. The president got involved as well by appointing mayors and governors. That was all until 1973. Not a lot of great stuff came out of the 1970s. One of them was D.C. home rule. They allowed more local government in D.C. It's totally flopped. Not only was this DOJ employee attacked, but you had a Democrat member of Congress, Henry Cuellar, was about a year ago carjacked at gunpoint by Capitol Hill, right by the U.S. Capitol. And Naomi Biden, Joe Biden's granddaughter, was carjacked in a Secret Service vehicle in Georgetown, which is basically the richest part of D.C. So local government isn't working. That district belongs to the federal government, which is to say it belongs to the people, and we have the right to have a safe and prosperous national capital.
Now, Michael, the big story, of course, that the world is on tenterhooks about this week is who is winning the big war, the genes war. Is it Sweeney or is it Beyonce? You've got to tell us. We're on tenterhooks, Michael.
Well, it was by far the most effective ad campaign of the last quarter century, I think. Sydney Sweeney did a great job with it. American Eagle did a great job with it. But I think the great beneficiaries are really all of us, because this ad campaign was highly calculated. You know, those American Eagle executives are in there crunching the numbers saying, look, woke is dead. And if we just present a normal ad, an ad that would have been considered, I don't know, kind of liberal in the 1990s, that is going to be enough in a culture that's gone so crazy with wokeness to send our stock price up 10% in one day, $200 million in market cap. It keeps going up and up and up. There have been a lot of signs, certainly starting last November when Trump won the popular vote. But I think this is the final nail in the coffin. Woke is dead for now, and we can finally move on.
Fantastic. But what will we talk about, Michael? I mean, I love your show, the Michael Knowles Show. You've got to listen to that. Australians have got to tune into that because it's fantastic. One of the things you've said and repeatedly said, Michael, is that we will never know more about Jeffrey Epstein than what we already know. Now, this week, we've had Bill and Hillary Clinton have been subpoenaed in a congressional committee investigating the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein. So I've got to ask you, is this because maybe Bill can offer some, be there as a classified as an expert in, sexually abusing young women, for example? Maybe he can offer some tips that the committee aren't aware of. But give us your thoughts on the Clintons and Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, he certainly could offer tips, but if the entire world is waiting for Bill Clinton to tell the truth and to be forthright, I would say don't hold your breath. You're going to run out of oxygen pretty quickly. No, I think that we are not going to hear much more. This Epstein issue is one that clearly is frustrating the president because it's an issue that long predates him before he ever seriously got into politics, and it just keeps coming up. It involves many of the most famous and wealthy and powerful people in the world. But my take on this has always been either Epstein is exactly who the government says he is, in which case we've already learned everything we're going to learn, or he's what other people suspect he is, a super spy working with at least one, maybe multiple governments in a clandestine way, in which case you've heard everything you're going to hear. But at this point, given that there's been a lot of secrecy around the Epstein case for, 20 years at this point, I don't think we're going to get much more out of it. So we can keep poking and prodding, but thus far, the Epstein case has been pretty tight-lipped.
Okay, fantastic. And Michael, just finally before you go, I call this segment the American Renaissance because for me, Donald Trump winning has completely launched a whole new America. Now, we could spend an hour or two chatting about that. But just quickly, in kind of 30 seconds or so, tell me where we are now, 6 months into the Donald Trump presidency. In your opinion, how's it going? Is it better? Is it worse? Not what you expected? Better than you expected? Michael, your thoughts on the Trump Renaissance?
Magnificent. It's already going much better than I expected. Trump promised a golden age. I thought that would be confined to America. We ended up with an American Pope. I mean, it's gone all the way to the Vatican. That's pretty good. Every time that the left or squishy people on the right say Trump's gone too far, he's screwing up, the bond market's failing, the global trade is going to collapse, we're getting into World War III with Iran. None of that has happened. Actually, everything Trump has done thus far has worked out extraordinarily well. I think he's earned a lot of grace and a lot of credibility, and I look forward to the next, not just 6 months, but to the next 3.5 years.
Absolutely, Michael, and I look forward to speaking to you again. So great to speak to you finally. And that's Michael Knowles there from The Michael Knowles Show on the Daily Wire website. You should go to that and check it out.